Yeah, so as I said, my name's Jess Wilson, not Nick. Sorry again for all those that might be disappointed. But I run enterprise sales out of San Francisco for a company called Cordial, which is a next generation email platform that is powered by real-time analytics. A few of our focuses are adaptive messaging, machine learning, but for the sake of today's conversation, we are going to be talking about taking a programmatic approach to personalization. Right? It's a hot buzzword, but we feel like there are some better ways to go about doing it. So I'm going to go out on a limb and guess that just about everybody in here wants to be the best that they absolutely can be. Not just the best that they can be, but the best at personalization. The problem is that the goals that we have surrounded personalization with are absolute bullshit, right? It is a very laborious task that we go through. So anytime we're actually launching any type of dynamic content, it tends to be a pain. There are several reviews that it has to go through. It's a lot like licking stamps, for lack of a better way to describe it, right? It is a production nightmare. It's often error-ridden, hence the several reviews that it has to go through. And at the end of the day, it's really difficult to actually show impact. So just by a quick show of hands, how many folks in here actually go through and review each piece of creative or every creative version that they have for every segment before launching? Yeah, right? And how long does that take? Does that take days, weeks, months? Yeah, it just depends, right? But it is a laborious task. It is long and it is painful. But it's long and painful because personalization is hard. No one would ever claim that it is easy, right? It is pulling together a ton of different parts, right? It's a cloak of many different colors. So it's pulling together not just content, but also data, trying to use machine learning, including product recommendations, whether that be on content or on products themselves, recommendations across the board. But it's difficult to pull all of those things together into one place. And by a great example, we'll get our arms moving. I'd like to take a little poll, again, of folks in the audience. So just put your hands up if this applies to you. How many of you are deploying dynamic content through your ESP today? Yeah? All right. And of those folks, how many of you are actually using another vendor to deploy personalization? Yeah? Okay. And last one, I promise you don't have to do it again. How many of you are using yet another vendor then to deploy content recommendations or product recommendations within that same ESP? Right? A few other people. So you're trying to pull together all of these different tools to create something that resembles personalization, as close as you can get to that. But again, it's very hard to do, and it creates what my colleague Allison likes to describe it as the Frankenstack, right? Several different marketing tools that you're trying to stitch together and create something out of. I'm sure that a few of you have heard that. I see you giggling out there, so you've heard her say that before. Yeah, it does, and it makes it really hard to operate. So let's talk about, oops, I went the wrong way. Talk about a few folks that have actually done this really well. Folks outside of Amazon, because everybody always talks about Amazon. Before I name drop my favorite, does anybody in here think that they have personalization cracked? Yeah? No? Because if you do, I'm happy to buy you a cocktail after this. Warm whiskey cordial, hot toddy, you name it. Right? It's hard to do, so not many people have. But the person that has the person that I'm thinking of, the company that I'm thinking of, actually use this to disrupt a great market. Anybody have any idea who I'm going to mention? No? 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 All right, Netflix. Right? We know that Amazon and Netflix are the kings and queens of personalization. They have it down pat. And the thing with Netflix is not that they were able to achieve personalization just because of their amazing technology or their amazing software, which it is. But it's something that goes much, much deeper than that. Amazon and Netflix are both amazing because personalization is core to what they do. It's a strategy and it's a culture within their organization. Netflix stepped forth and said, we're going to be different. We're going to be programmatic. We're going to use machines to scale. And that is what has allowed them to move so incredibly quickly and displace the incumbents that have such been in the space for quite a while. So what does good personalization look like? We know that Amazon does it well. We know that Netflix does it well. Right? We know that content marketing is a core initiative for several different organizations. We also know that there is a good deal of hesitation, though, around, or just even letting go, around or letting go, and allowing machines to do the work for you, allowing machines to make some decisions as you move forward. There's a good deal of hesitation. But at the end of the day, that is something that you have to embrace. Bringing personalization to the core of your organization, making it a cultural pillar, a cultural value, is what will allow you to move forward. saying data is important, and we're going to use that data not just to drive our campaigns or to build audiences, but actually empower machines then to help us make decisions so that we can move more things off of your plate and allow you to focus on strategy as opposed to some of these everyday tasks that are being set forth. So a company that has done this really well, and I'm not sure who has heard of them before, but they're called GovX. Don't have their logo up here, just a few example emails. But just to introduce you to who they are and what they do, it's a really amazing company. They are like a Costco for first responders. So if anybody has a spouse, family, friends, anything like that, introduce them to this company because it's great. But as it is, this Costco kind of for first responders, they have food, they have clothing, they have tickets, travel, all that you can buy directly through their site at a very discounted price. But in order to enroll or to sign up for this platform, there is a fairly laborious process that you go through because you actually have to submit documents showing and proving that you are in fact a first responder. So with that, they know that if they do not convert somebody within 60 days of them visiting the site, there is almost a 0% chance that they ever will. So they approached Cordial, and we worked with them within 2 weeks of signing with Cordial. They took their 50 static journeys that they had built out in ExactTarget and built them into 14 programmatic templates. So that's an over 70% reduction in the templates that they had, and these were programmatic templates, okay? So what takes almost a year to build, an ExactTarget, 50 plus, built in 2 weeks within Cordial, and they're programmatic. Programmatic is really beautiful because it isn't something that I've tried to guess that you're going to do. It isn't something that I'm like putting pie in the sky, this is what I think my consumers are going to do or the flow that they're going to go through. It's based off of what you've actually done. It's using data to power the content and to interact with you where you are within the life cycle. And that's across all of the messaging platforms that you're, or all of the notifications that you're sending, whether it's promotional, behavioral, transactional. It reduces flooding and it ensures that the conversation that you're having is relevant with that consumer. So it's a new approach, it's a different way of doing things, but it's what we truly believe is the only sustainable way to move forward. If I think about my interest, the way that I engage with things, or even what's just happening in the media around me, last month is totally different than this month. My interests have changed, my shopping behaviors have changed, my browsing behaviors have changed. So if you go through a month-long review process to try and push personalization out within a campaign or within an email, then quite often it can be stale by the time it actually reaches that audience. You have to move faster and you have to adapt a programmatic way to move forward. So how do you actually do that? We have 1, 2, and 3 to go through, right? Just a couple of quick bullets to hit home with. So stop expecting to review every single piece of creative that's going into your email, right? So how many folks in here are actually in the trenches every day? How many folks are designing the emails, having to go through the production process? A lot of folks, right? And so if you really believe in one-to-one, if you really believe in that, and say you have a database of 1 million customers, it is almost relatively impossible. You simply can't go through and review every single piece of creative for every single individual and scale and move quickly. You simply can't do it, so you have to adopt something new. Imagine a world where rules control the data and logic controls templates. So that's collecting data from everywhere, pulling data in from your website, from your mobile applications, from mobile browsing, from even inventory-based data, right? Business-based behaviors. Marrying that all together and using that to build your audiences, build your profiles, build your segments, and creating a view of your users that you can then use to power dynamic content or power adaptive content through the templates that you've built, and doing that at the time of send. So based off of what I've done today, right now, in real time, connecting with me. And 3, think a little bit differently about measurement and impact. This is optimizing across all of your KPIs and experimenting, or better yet, using machine learning to optimize and experiment across all of the KPIs that matter to you. And that's what will allow you to move quickly, innovate and move faster by using the machines to actually do the heavy lifting for you. So with that, I'll leave you with this. Culture is not what you say, it's what you allow. So develop a strategy and innovate, not just fast, but also with intent. That's all I got for you guys today. So if you have any questions on this, we're happy to help you with it. Again, company is Cordial. We have t-shirts sitting right outside, but I would love to talk to you about strategies in building out a programmatic approach to personalization, not just myself. My colleague David is here in the back, my colleague Allison over here on the right, And I would introduce you to Scott, but he might have stepped to the restroom. Oh, sitting down, sitting down. There's Scott over there. We'd love to chat with you about it, or maybe meet me on the tubes today. I am going to be on the slopes, but not on the, not skiing, not snowboarding. I'm looking to make friends, not enemies. So meet me on the tubes if you want to chat later.
All right, Jess, thank you so much.